All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We got a little combo show for you. Apologies for the delay. We had it's still going on. Actually, we got a little overtime here in Minnesota and the Los Angeles Clippers with 4 minutes to go. We got ones across the board, 111 to 111. This is kind of the last missing piece here to decide what the hell these playoffs are going to look like. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to spend like the first 40 to 45 minutes or so talking NBA, trying to get a feel for what the phase one, round one lineups are going to look like. We have until Tuesday to lock, right? So we'll do something else Tuesday afternoon, but I figured now would be a good time to just get a look at it, kind of talk through some of these series. And then the other thing we have is some baseball, and our guy Jump Shoot is going to jump on in about 45 minutes, and we'll take a look at the upcoming Sorare MLB week. So we probably got like 90 minutes or so of content coming at you to get you ready in those Sorare streets. Hope you guys have had some good sweats. I know on the NBA side of stuff is a very high scoring game week. On the MLB stuff, we only got couple games or a game Sunday night baseball, and then whatever else is finishing up right now. Could use some athletics bombs if they're up for it, or some Brewers. I'd take some Brewer bombs too. We also have the Masters winding down right now. Got a 3-way tie here, 10 under. We got Rory, Aberg, and Rose, with Rory the most green left, if you will. But let's do this while we'll start with the Eastern Conference and work our way down and just talk a little bit about the potential series here. And then once the Clippers game goes final, we can go to the Western Conference. But I think, for phase one and round one, we know it's your top 4 scores, right? Your top 4 scores there. So, you obviously want these situations where you have your teams playing the most amount of opportunities, right? Like, so the series that go, 6 or 7 games that you're going to project to be like longer series, you have more opportunities to kind of spike that high. And then just like a quick reminder, if you missed it, we had our guy John on from the So Rare team who talked with us for a while about like the playoff structure, but just like a quick recap, right? So for phase one, which is the play-in, which starts on Tuesday, and then all of round one, your 4 highest nightly scores get combined into like one cumulative score, and that is how the leaderboard works, right? So having a deep gallery is obviously helpful for those nights where we might only have, like, if one series goes 7 games, right? There might only be one game on that night for round one. So you might have to have say it's Knicks and Pistons or whatever, a stack of that game could go a long way. Anyways, let's kind of look at some of these Eastern Conference series since that is all shooken out. We've got Bulls and Heat, Magic and Hawks. Those are the 2 playing games. So obviously, you're guaranteed at least 2 games from the 7-8 matchups, right? Because if the 7 seed wins, you know they're going to play a first round series. If the 8 seed loses, you know they're going to at least play one more game against the winner of the 9-10. Obviously, the 9-10 games are a little bit even dicier than that. But when we look at the East, those teams, right, that's like Trae Young. When we think about like Trae Young and Risa Shea. You got Onyeka Okongwu. Honestly, it's probably just Trae Young and Okongwu. Maybe some Vit Krejci if you need to find some filler there. And then on the Orlando side of stuff, Anthony Black, Cole Anthony. Those are going to be like the fringe guys you could probably get away with playing. Wendell Carter Jr. But mainly it's Paolo and Franz, right? Mainly it's Paolo and Franz in that environment. For the Bulls, I mean, like, listen, it's so interesting because like there's some high risk, high reward, right? If you decide this, where like a lot of game theory is going to go into this. Although you know what, it's actually not as dicier. It's funny. I'm coming to this realization in real time right now. I was thinking there was some more risk involved with playing some of these guys, but there's actually no risk involved whatsoever. Because if they lose, you just don't play them the next daily contest. I was almost thinking you were locked into them through that time. So you're not. I did. So again, all right, let me refresh here myself. That is, our guy like Josh Giddey, I think is pretty interesting for those first couple of play-in games, right? Assuming we have Kings and Mavericks, we have, although, God, I'm sorry, I'm like all over the place with this. I was just thinking that, like, oh, hey, maybe there's some value in those play-in games, right? But not really, because you're really only picking from a couple of teams, right? And when you look at the weekends on like Saturday and Sunday of round one, both the first weekend and the second weekend, you're going to have 4 games playing, which means we have 8 teams in play, right? Whereas like on the play-in nights, you're going to have 4 teams play. So I don't really know if it's worth getting too wild in those play-in game matchups. But anyways, I think Josh Giddey out of those 4 on the Eastern Conference here, Josh Giddey has probably got the highest upside of all of those fellas. So I think he's somebody that could break a slate in those play-in games if you do think you're going to get some massive upside. The fun thing about like Chicago, if Atlanta loses that first game and then we get Chicago, Atlanta in the second round, that could be pretty spicy. Obviously, Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. I know we saw Jaime Jaquez go for almost like a 40-point triple-double today. Don't think that's going to be the norm, but that is interesting, I guess. But now when we really get into it, Pacers and Bucks and Knicks and Pistons. It's funny. You think about Detroit and New York, and you don't necessarily think that that's going to be like massive offense, right? However, I do think this is like a pretty good matchup for Cade Cunningham. I think he's probably one of the like second tier MVPs if you're not looking at Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, all that stuff. Yeah, DJP said, will there be live before lock for dailies? Brother, if you think I'm doing live before lock 7 days a week, put the pipe down. I'll probably check in 2 to 3 times a week on it. We'll have some members only content too, but definitely not doing a live before lock every single day. But I think the Knicks Pistons, I think, could be a little bit more high scoring than people think. New York hasn't really played a ton of defense this year. I think Cade, again, like I was saying, is kind of that second tier of an MVP where I don't think the Knicks are going to have anybody that can guard him. I think this is an opportunity for Asar Thompson to get there. What's Asar's cap right now? Where did we close off on Asar Thompson's cap? Let me see. Is he still like low? He's 30, actually, so that's not as great. Tobias Harris, his cap is what? His is also 30? Wow, him and interesting that they're both 30. Yeah, this is where it's going to get tough. I think we got so used to the last couple of weeks of having plenty of value, right? In all of these low cap guys who all of a sudden were getting a ton of run. We're now going to be in the situation where all of these teams are going to be playing 7 to 8 guys a night. We're not going to see these deep rotations. So it's going to be a little bit harder. I think there's going to be some real strategy on those lower nights where there's only 2 games, where you're really going to have to find positions to punt, and maybe you're like throwing guys who aren't really even playing any minutes just so you can get some higher end value guys. Um, but I think like the real focus should be on those nights early on where we have 4 games, which again should be for round one on Saturday and Sunday, both the first weekend, this upcoming weekend. So what's the 19th and 20th, and then the following weekend. Both of those weekends, we should get 4 games on Saturday, 4 games on Sunday. Um, of course, we'll have some 3-game nights too throughout the week in the first round. But this is where that's where you're going to make your money, I think. It's going to be pretty hard to do it when we don't have a lot of options to choose from on those 2 games a night. So again, we'll have to go week by week. But anyways, Knicks and Pistons, I think, could be pretty high scoring. The Knicks caps are all kind of interesting too. Like Anunoby has almost played himself too high. His cap is 45. He's going to be somebody that's really difficult to play. Hart's cap of 36, I think, is going to be pretty useful. Bridges' cap of 33, I think, is going to be pretty useful. Brunson's at 42. Obviously, if you have Brunson, that's a fine play. And then Towns is at 43. So both of those guys, I think, are pretty intriguing. What's going to be super important for the Knicks is what they do with their bench pieces. Who are the guys that crack into the rotation? Because they're all like the starting 5 is probably playing 38 minutes. Mitchell Robinson and Deuce McBride would be the other 2 candidates, I think, for some minutes. Mitchell Robinson's cap is of 20. That's pretty solid. McBride gets some run here down the stretch, so his cap is up to 26. But other than that, I mean, like maybe Precious Achiuwa. But my guess is Mitch, Rob, and Deuce are like the 2 main candidates that we would target from the bench. But I think those Knicks, though maybe their names aren't as sexy as some of those other players that we're going to talk about, I think because their minutes are going to be so high every single game while they're playing in a competitive series against Detroit that should be relatively high scoring, I think those are going to be fun spots there. Let me like real quick check in on Clippers and Warriors. What are we at right now for a score? I see it's flashing up now. All right, so the Clippers are up 4. Warriors have the ball. All right, so there you go. That's fun. Now we've got like Pacers and Bucks is another one. So there was another report today that Damian Lillard has a meeting with his specialist or another test to see if he's going to be ready to go. The Bucks seem pretty optimistic that he is going to be able to play, but they said at some point in the playoffs. That's literally could be 6 weeks from now. So if that is the case, that it's 6 weeks from now, then like that's useless because I don't think the Bucks will be in the playoffs 6 weeks from now. So, Giannis, obviously, right? Obviously, great play. Kuzma here, his cap has come up a little bit now at 27, but with no Dame, assuming that's a really good spot to be in. Bobby Portis has made his return. His cap is only 32. And again, I think he like weirdly plays better when Giannis is still in the lineup, but with no Dame, I think that's pretty important. But honestly, I think it's going to be a lot of Kevin Porter Jr., who has been playing really well. And I think especially that first weekend, his cap only being 25 is going to be super, super important. And him not really playing tonight, I actually think was very useful because I think he would have put up a big number. It would have raised his cap a little bit. I also think him not playing tonight is a sign, or today is a sign that Dame is definitely not going to be ready for the first round. So, because they're like, oh, we need Porter Jr. to be healthy and rested. I really like, even though not as a person, as a human being, I think Kevin Porter Jr. is somebody that could be very, very important here in your first round constructions, especially on those weekends. Because again, a cap of 25 with somebody that has, a ceiling of mid 40s, maybe even 50s. We saw him go really crazy. I don't think we see like that same nutso stuff. For the Pacers, like obviously Halliburton and Siakam. But the other guys I wanted to shout out here, I think Nesmith is going to be somebody that's pretty important, that's going to play a lot of minutes for the Pacers in the playoffs, mainly because of the defensive assignments he's going to have to call, or he's going to have to take up on. So I think Nesmith's going to play some pretty heavy minutes. His cap is only 25. Mathurin's minutes have been kind of all over the place. He's probably my favorite role player for the Pacers here heading into the playoffs. Cap of 26, I think, is pretty fun. He's like, I think that's like a great spot to be in. Turner, who, his cap's all the way up to 37. He's going to be a really tough play on the bigger slates. When there's only 2 games, sure, Miles Turner is fine. But on those 4 gamers, I don't think that's a spot you want to use 37 cap on Miles Turner. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else here on the Pacers that we really need to touch upon. I mean, Obi Toppin has proven himself to be pretty useful. His cap is only 22. My guess is his minutes get cut pretty drastically, but I could see them using him as somebody that, like, hey, let's throw Obi out there for a few minutes. Let's see how he reacts. If he's hot tonight, we'll leave him out there. If he's not, we'll take him out. So I think Obi is somebody to pay attention to here. I don't know. Is there anybody else on the Pacers you guys like? I think that's kind of it for me. It's like obviously Halliburton, Siakam, Nembhard. I guess we should give a shout to another solid guard defender. His cap is all the way down to 24 as well, so I think that's pretty good. The Cavaliers are kind of interesting because of what they've been doing with their minutes lately. And like guys like Jared Allen, who like checked in and then did not really play. And Mikal Bridges did a similar thing, right? So we're gonna get some help from that. I saw DJP was saying McConnell was pretty hot last postseason. He was. I would also say though, McConnell has been like really, really bad this season. The shine has worn off on TJ a little bit. So I think they trust Nemby and Mathurin a little bit more. I'm not saying McConnell's not going to get run, but just throwing that out there. These Cleveland caps though are nuts, man. Like Darius Garland's at 32 and Jared Allen's at 28. Those are guys, right? We saw them play basically 30 to 34 minutes a night the entire regular season. Now, again, we get to the playoffs where these rotations shrink a little bit. They're going to be playing 36 to 38, maybe 40 minutes if it's a close series. And again, we still have to wait to see how the play-in shakes out. But man, if you get Cleveland and Atlanta in the first round, or Cleveland and or Chicago in the first round, you know the Cavs are going to be playing heavy minutes in a beautiful, game-friendly environment. That's like pretty spicy. That is pretty spicy. I think Cleveland might be the linchpin to the phase one, if you will. Looks like we got 7 seconds left here in Clippers Warriors. Clippers seem to have the ball up 2 here, 7.7 seconds. And it doesn't even look like the Clippers are in the bonus either. So curious how this one plays out. Clippers are sending everybody back. I'm just going to call this as it happens because this would be very helpful. DJP saying Jimmy Butler is limping. They still have him out there, and he's doing a little shuffle. They get the ball into Kawhi. They get a quick foul. Draymond and Jimmy give him a little Eiffel Tower. Now, yeah, Jimmy is definitely limping. I will say, though, it looks more like he took a knee to the quadricep, and maybe he's just a little dinged up there. But anyways, it looks like Kawhi will be going to the line here to shoot 2. And if we knock both of these down, yeah, he took a knee from Kawhi right above his knee, it looks like. Hopefully he's okay. You don't want anything serious. Kawhi at the line, knocks down. Oh, he misses the first. He misses the first one. The door has been open for the Golden State Warriors here to try to get their ass out of the play-in game. Wow. Kawhi has been insane today. 32 points. Was 2 for 3 from the line at that point. Let's see if he knocks down the second one. Let's see. And then we can actually look at the Western Conference too, which would be helpful. The Claw. Looks like Golden State has 1 timeout left. Are they going to take it? Or yeah, they take the timeout. Okay. So I think Cleveland, as I was saying, probably maybe the sharpest team to have been overloaded on heading into the playoffs. I think Jared Allen's cap of 28 is pretty nuts. Also, Ty Jerome's cap is 21. DeAndre Hunter's cap is 23. Max Strus's cap is 20. All of those guys, I think, are pretty fun plays here heading into the playoffs. Let's look at the Boston team next, see kind of how their caps shake out. We've got Tatum up to 45, whatever. Zinger up to 34, 36. The one that sticks out the most to me is Jaylen Brown here with a cap of 33. Clearly, he's battling some knee stuff right now, so not awesome. But he took a shot. Maybe the shot is good for him, and he'll be ready to go. My guess, though, is that Jaylen Brown probably doesn't get pushed too much in round 1 if the Celtics don't need him. But again, with a cap of 33 in the playoffs, he's somebody whose cap should be in the mid to high 40s. And honestly, if Jaylen Brown's not going to play a ton early on, it's going to make him even more valuable when we get into the second round, because his cap is going to come down if you think he's not going to play his normal minutes or something like that, right? So Jaylen Brown, interesting. Al Horford, is going to play a little bit more. His cap is 32, is fine. Peyton Pritchard's cap is 27. That's fine. That's probably it. That's probably it for the Celtics. Their caps are all Jaylen Brown and Al Horford, really the only two that stick out to me too much. There you go. That's a bad sign, Boston base. That's a bad sign. So that's really it for the Celtics there. I feel like that covers most of the Eastern Conference. We'll go back here. Warriors checking the ball in. 6.1 seconds now. Down 3. Let's see if the Clippers just foul and send him to the line. Or Jimmy's trying to get the ball in. Gets it to Buddy on the angle. Buddy fires it. Misses badly. Harden gets the board. That'll do, donkey. It looks like the Clippers are going to go ahead and hold on to that spot in the Western Conference. So let's look at the West now, shall we? Let's look at the West. This is wild, man. So the play-in here, Sacktown against Dallas Mavericks, those are just two organizations that have given up. I mean, obviously, Sabonis is somebody, like, if they somehow get into the first round, like that's somebody who could be very helpful with his cap of a 40. DeRozan's cap is 39. Malik Monk and Zach LaVine. Malik Monk's done. I'm sorry. Zach LaVine, though, his cap is 27. We saw him spike a couple of times this past game week. If somehow Sacramento got into the playoffs, that could be fun. I don't really love Zach LaVine. I mean, again, if it's just the play-in, it's really going to be hard to have one of those spike nights in a 2-game slate. But, you're still making lineups, right? I think Zach LaVine with a cap of 27, you could do a lot worse. Also, we saw Keon Ellis play a ton of minutes in the playoffs as like their best on-ball guard defender. He's got a cap of 23. I think that's pretty fun. You could do that, right? The Dallas Mavericks, man, just gross shit. I expect them to be one and done. Maybe, listen, maybe they beat Memphis, but I don't know. Sacramento, but I don't know. I know. Sorare NBA squad. It was just throwing darts this week. So you got AD's got a cap of 44. I mean, that's okay. That's fun. Kyrie's not playing. Dinshitty there with a cap of 36. Can't really do that. Gafford with a cap of 30. Can't really do that. I think our guy PJ Washington's probably the most interesting with a cap of 27. So really it's just AD and PJ. Those are the guys that stick out the most from the Dallas side of stuff. But now we've got a freaking play-in matchup between the Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies, which I know I was saying I don't really love the play-in stuff from a fantasy perspective. Memphis Golden State should have a ton of points. Those teams don't like each other. Memphis has been like a very bad defensive team, but it has been like fun offensively. Ja's cap has finally started to skyrocket here. He's got a cap of 46 after stringing together like 15 straight really solid games. You got Desmond Bane here. I'll share the top tier projections. These aren't their projections, by the way, for the playoffs. I'm just pulling up what this last game week was so I can see their caps. So I'm just sorting by caps right now. But Desmond Bane with a cap of 37, okay, that's fine. But Triple J, I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. having a cap of 34, the Golden State matchup should be fun. And I do think, like, the 7-8 matchup of Golden State and Memphis, I think those are the two teams that will make it to the first round of the playoffs. So stashing somebody like Triple J, I think, could be very, very useful throughout the playoffs. But my guess is that Golden State beats Memphis, and then Memphis beats whoever is in that next round. Santi Aldama, right? We know there's no Jalen Wells. Santi Aldama's cap is 24. He's going to be playing way more minutes. Zach Edey's probably going to have to play way more minutes. You could even get to Luke Kennard as a punt play. Also, Vince Williams Jr. I think both of those guys find stashes here for caps that are in the teens that you could get away with like throwing into lineups. I have no Will Smith thoughts, but that's a good question. Thank you, Manicato. I think those are things that you could get away with some of those guys. Also want to check in. Can somebody give me a Masters update in the chat? How are we doing over there? All right, so that's set there. We have 7, 8, 9, 10. We know all of the matchups here. Let's do Denver Clippers because I think, honestly, I'm going to call it right now. Somebody who wins like phase one, who has like a winning phase one, is going to have Zubac in their lineups. I think I'm getting pretty excited here about this matchup of the Clippers versus the Nuggets. I'm not saying the Clippers are a guaranteed W here in the first round, but Denver gets beat by the bigs quite a bit. You see Zubac's cap has come down to 41. I just think this is going to be an incredible matchup here. So I think Big Z having a cap of 41, being your second guy in some of these contests. I also think and I don't know, maybe this is a little bit of hot takey. I think Zubac might be a little unique. I don't know how many people are going to be trying to force him in. He's not one of the more sexier names to throw in there. So I don't know. I kind of like Zubac. I think that's a spicy take. It is kind of nuts to think that one of the Clippers or the freaking Denver Nuggets are going to be out in the first round. I didn't win anything, Vuvuzelas. You got Norman Powell, another steal, man. Cap at 24. We know he's going to be playing massive minutes in the playoffs. I don't think he's been 100% since coming back from injury. I know he had some hit a big shot right before halftime in this game today against Golden State, but I don't think he's been 100%. But still, with a cap at 24, I think that's excellent. Same line of thinking. Bogdan Bogdanovic, I think, is going to have a bigger role this postseason. So I like Bogey quite a bit. I wish his cap was a little bit lower. If the Clippers somehow make it to the second round, be curious to see what that looks like. Chris Dunn is going to be out there a lot. His cap is 18. I don't really love it, but that's something. And then Ben Simmons, baby, you can't do that. Let's do Denver now. Let's check out these caps for Denver. So Jamal Murray's cap is 41. The one nice thing is he had two kind of games down the stretch, right? So if both of those teams, if both of those guys aren't, both of those games when they get added to his cap, his number should come down a little bit. I think Jamal Murray, we obviously know he's awesome in the playoffs. Michael Porter Jr. 6. Can you guys at least hear me right now? Can you guys at least hear me? Borland being on brand, demanding a refund. Can you guys at least hear me in the chat? And I'll keep it like this until I can fix the camera. I just want to make sure. Can somebody say in the chat if you can hear me? All right, cool. All right, I don't really know what's going on with that. That was bizarre, man. I jinxed it. Let's just keep going here with Denver while I fix this. That's my hole down there. Let's see. Jump shoot. He's going to be joining us here in a second. You love to see that. All right. So we're looking at Denver. Hold on. I'm going to try to. Nope. Still no dice. Huh? Let's shut it off. See what happens there. But with Denver, I mean, what do you guys think about Christian Brown's cap at 31? You guys think we can do that? Can you get away with the 31 cap of Christian Brown? I feel like we're going to see a lot less Russ, right? We're going to see a lot less Russ. Still no camera, huh? Let's see. Borland, my joke was better, though. Anyways, Russell Westbrook's cap is 27. I don't think you can play him. I do wonder how much Jalen Pickett we're going to see, though. All right, let's see. I'm going to try to get in here this way until I can fix this. Of course. Come on, StreamYard. You think Pickett's going to play, Taylor? That's what I was wondering, man. You think he's going to play? Because if that is the case, I wonder, like, with him at a cap of 17 is somebody you can get to. And again, we're just looking for any sort of relief at all, right? Any sort of relief at all. All right, I'm going to try it this way. Just so I can shut my camera off. All right, hold on. Remove me. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's try it out this way for now. Although I do think I'm going to need to hear, which is going to be a problem later. We're going to shut this camera off here for a second. We're actually going to close out completely. Close out completely. We'll do it this way. All right, and then we can jump back in here. Let's see if this works. No, still doesn't look like it's working. I wonder what is going on. Pretty bad timing. I wonder, we used playback all day today. Couldn't find a camera. Of course not. Why couldn't you find the camera? Oh, hold on. We're gonna unplug one more thing. Try this one more time. Shout out some Luke Cornett though. We get some Luke Cornett audio. T-shirt. We'll take that. We'll take a little Luke Cornett. Vote for him for Tommy Point Man of the Year, whatever the hell it is. Whatever the hell it is. Let's see. And then we're going to get... I just want to get through the rest of these matchups here before we get old Jump Shooty on. Do a quick hard read. Do I have another application open or something? Let's see. Yeah, it's not giving it to me. Watch Rory's last hole. Yeah, how's Rory doing? Is he getting it? Is Rory gonna get it done here? God, this is so tilting. I don't understand what's happening. It's just like not even loading the camera whatsoever. All right, but at least you dummies, all 22 of you sticking around. Let's try this one more time. One more time. Because I legit don't even know how I'm going to be able to get Jump Shoot on there. Rory's up on 18, up 1. Did we get a good tee shot yet? Oh, man. Nope, still no dice, huh? Is it possible you don't have a camera plugged in? It's not. It's not. All right, let's try it this way. Ready? This is what we'll do. I think if we do this... All right, can you guys hear me okay? Yeah? Or is there like a crazy echo? Because as long as there's not a crazy echo, what we're going to do is we'll bring Jump Shoot on as long as there's not a crazy echo. Even though now it's... I wonder if I'm just having... Oh, no echo. Okay, hell yeah, brother. We're back, baby. We're back. All right, let's move this out here. That's great. That's great. Although now I don't see Jump Shoot anywhere either, so that's fun. There he is. He's back. All right, I'm going to bring him on in like 5 minutes. Let's quickly get through some of this other stuff here in the West and the East, right? So we were left off with Denver, right? And we were saying that Jalen Pickett might be a sneaky fun play over there. So that's exciting. That's exciting that we get to Pickett. I think that's really it. I don't know if we have to go anywhere else with Denver. Let's see what else we got. We did the Clippers. Let's get to this Minnesota Lakers matchup, which I think is kind of fun. I actually don't even know who I would pick in this one. Obviously, Lakers have home court advantage. I think Rudy and Naz Reid are like pretty interesting. Although Rudy put up some gaudy numbers here the last couple of game weeks, right? He had a couple of big nights, and so that brought that all the way up to 39, which we don't love that. That's really high. But Julius Randle, a cap at 31. Naz Reid, right there. Naz Reid is the guy. I think if you can beat LA, it's going to be with the big boys. Obviously, if you have Anthony Edwards, you're firing him up. He's great. But But to me, like the cap of 25, those are the spots we're looking for. Those are the spots that you can attack. And if you have Naz Reid with a cap of 25 taking on the bigs of Jackson Hayes and Rui Hashimura, that's where you're going to make your money. So I like that. I like the Naz Reid. I like Julius Randle. Those are the spots. And again, no one's going to be pumped to play Julius Randle. So I think attacking spots like that are pretty interesting. The Lakers, I think, is pretty clear. Outside, obviously, your Austin Reeves, your Luka, all of those guys, of course, you can play them. The no doy, right? Luka cap of 51. LeBron cap of 43 is kind of nice. AR with a cap of 41. Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui Hashimura, Gabe Vincent are all going to be logging some pretty major minutes. I don't think I'd get to a lot of Jordan Goodwin, Dalton Connect, Shake Milton, those guys. But I do think you're going to see like an 8-man rotation from the Lakers. And I think, ready, starting 5 of Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves, then maybe either Rui or Dorian Finney-Smith along with Jackson Hayes. I think Jackson Hayes is going to be important against the team that's rolling out Rudy and Naz and all those bigs, right? Gabe Vincent's been playing a lot better lately. So you can get a Jackson Hayes with a cap of 15. Gabe Vincent, a cap of 16. Again, none of these names are fun, but when we have such limited options and we know we're not going to have the value that's going to help us build these lineups, those are the spots you're going to have to attack. So I think Minnesota is like a great spot for value. And I think this Minnesota Lakers series probably goes 6 or 7. So I think that's a fun one. Let's look at Houston and OKC quickly, and then jump shooty time. Houston over here. Their caps are all kind of even, right? You got Amin and Sengun both in the 40s. Then you have Jalen Green in the 38s. I do wonder, though, like, was Fred VanVleet just being saved here for the postseason with a cap of 29, excuse me? I think that's pretty fun. Dylan Brooks is going to be out there a bunch. And then, like, let's see how they use Tyree Eason and all of those guys. I think that's going to be a spot where you can get them. Rory is him off the tee. There we go. Love to see it. And then last but not least, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't really think there's going to be a ton of value to be had, except for Alex Caruso. I wonder if that's a spot. Like Shea, cap of 51, J-Dub 37. I will say Chet and iHeart in the low 30s is pretty nice. And then Wallace, Dort, I say Joe, whatever. Where's Caruso down here at 21? I think is pretty fun. I think that's pretty fun. I'm gonna try my camera one more time. Let's see what happens. I would love to like get that to work. Let's see if we can make it work here. Nope. No dice. Still not working on that camera. But we tried. All right, that's gonna do it for NBA stuff. I'll have something on Tuesday midday probably, or maybe tomorrow afternoon if I have some more time to talk through it. Maybe tomorrow afternoon, but most likely on Tuesday. And we'll do a deeper dive there and try once the caps have all been updated on the So Rare site and over on Top Tier Projections, we'll have a deeper dive into the playoff stuff. And again, as DJP was saying, like, oh, are we going to do a daily show? We're not going to do a daily show, but at some point we'll dive into this a little bit more regularly. But let's do it. Let's get our guy Jump Shoot on Jump Shoot. Sorry we're having the weird technical difficulties, but good to have you here, man. Oh, I got to add audio too. Sorry, go ahead.
No, thanks for having me, Mike. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Look, repping some twin stuff, trying to win Borland over in the chat immediately.
Yeah, the back from Fanatics. I have some crazy stuff that goes cheap every once in a while. So I
Yeah,
don't know. They're
there we
playing
go.
my Tigers or Tiggies. So
I
I
like
don't
it.
know.
I like that we both needed two like different screens to make this work today.
Yeah, I actually have my PC too running the YouTube in the background. So I've got like my laptop that's got this streaming on it, my phone that's got the audio, and then my PC that's got YouTube.
Perfect.
So we've got the trifecta going.
So where do you want to start today? I know you shared some fun stuff with me. I thought what we could do is kind of talk through a little bit about like how you attack Sorare MLB week to week, since I'm more of the noob, more of the cash that have been working my way in here. So I'd love to like just kind of pick your brain a little bit about what your process is, and then we can go from there to like use some of that to like build some lineups.
Yeah, I think I shared that Google Doc or
Sure.
whatnot that shared some of my things, but like Taylor hit it right on the head. The other stream as well, where it was like you're looking essentially for the most quality at bats versus the worst quality pitching. In the most instances, you can get that lines you up for better chance of success kind of thing. So okay. Oh, you requested.
Yeah, just had to request access to the doc.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
How do I
it's so
approve
funny because
this?
I know that
Go ahead.
the case that you want to be like attacking the spots where you're getting like your best hitters and your best spots. And I know a lot of those times that they've been like teams that have 4 games versus team that have 3 games. It's just been so funny watching the 4-game teams flame out the first couple of weeks. Oh wait, I think I lost your audio. Maybe.
I probably should stay on this and not mess
No,
around with the computer. How's that sound? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. I got you back now.
All right. I don't. Yeah, I think for some reason my iPod's disconnected. Here we go. Maybe. Sorry, guys.
You're good. That's
All
what the
right.
stream's all about, baby.
Yeah, we're just going by the seat of our pants kind of thing. So
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially you're looking for the best quality at bats versus the worst quality pitching. When you can get that, and again, when you get more instances of at bats, that gives you a higher chance to go forward with everything. But yeah, send it. Can you share streaming? Let me share my screen on my computer.
Yeah, sure. You can do it that way.
Let's see here. I think for some reason, start cam. There we go. Yeah, my cam got disconnected. Let's see. There we go. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. My stupid iPads. But yeah, if you allow me to share.
Yeah, you can just do that at the bottom.
Let's see.
There's a present button.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Share screen. All right. Let's see. Window.
I like that. Just all the technology failed here right when we started.
Chrome tab window. Entire screen. Okay, let's see here. Hopefully this doesn't get too crazy.
All right, here we go. I see it now. Let's get it up there. Oh, I got to remove mine. Let's do that. Although now I'm seeing a purple screen.
Purple screen. All right, here, stop sharing. Let's try this one more time. Share screen. Okay, share screen. I'll just do entire screen. Here we go. Get ready for inception.
There we go. All right. There we go. We did it. Success.
All right, we're cooking finally. Okay, so this is what I really like a lot instead of the fan graphs that you got. You can see on the left there, they've got the number of right-handed pitchers, a number of left-handed pitchers, and also on top here, if I scroll up a little bit, it'll have these numbers on the side. This is the matchup rank. So unfortunately, this goes for all 7 days, so it doesn't go for the Sorare one, and Sunday's included right now as well. But what's really nice is like with the Athletics, you can see that they've got 6 games, and they're all against six-handed starting pitchers. So your left-handed bats are going to have a lot better chance or have better opportunities essentially in that. So that's something to kind of look at. Essentially, same with the Diamondbacks too. Your left-handed bats are going to be looking a lot better essentially, even though they only have 3 games as opposed to 4 games this next coming game week. So you can see, with the D-backs, they've got a 21. So what's really nice about this too, as opposed to Fangraphs, is like under Freddie Peralta, he's a 20th ranked pitcher. He's a right-handed pitcher here too. So you can see they're going to Miami too, typically more of a pitcher's park. But Max Meyer, Edward Cabrera, and Sandy Alcantara, top 25 pitchers can be pretty good. Sometimes when it's like a top 10 pitcher, almost consider it like it's almost like they're not getting a full game of at bats because there's a greater chance for them to strike out or something like that. So
now, are you ever like thinking about what everyone else is doing? Like when you know what I'm saying? Like when you're building, are you ever thinking about, you're like, well, I know a lot of people have access, not access to the exact same stuff that you have, but are like, oh, I think everybody's going to be targeting this situation. So I might try to target a different one to be a little bit more unique, where it's like easier to move up the leaderboard, or are you just kind of like, I'm firing out the best plays every single week?
I think MLB is small enough, and then I think what's different between this and NBA a lot is the 7-team lineup gives you
Mhm.
just exponentially more diversity too. So even somebody that's very similar,
Sure.
it's still going to take a lot essentially. And then even in that instance, it's whoever's like put the lineup first. If they have everything else like XP bonuses and all that stuff, similar too. But I found that I still think it's best to take your best shot on everything. I think that gives you the best shot to win.
Mhm.
Sometimes goofy things end up coming off and playing a little bit better, which is fun. Um, but yeah, I think you just basically have to line up and take your best shot. Sometimes mini stacks too, so not necessarily going full bore with a 3 or 4 team, but maybe just 1 or 2 of the heavy hitters. Typically, guys at the top of the lineup will get more at bats, therefore more shots at doing something. A lot of the guys at the top of the lineup are faster as well. That's one of the other Sorare cheat codes where let's see here. If you have like power plus speed, basically, you can get like doubly, like you can just get so many bonuses with that. Saw that a little bit with Lubob this weekend where you hit a home run and you steal a base. And it becomes, the points really rack up really quickly.
Yeah, Lubob was a good example, especially because he got off to such a slow start. But then it was a nice reminder that he has both power and speed. That's what like made the Atlanta lineup so fun for a while, where you had guys like Albies and Acuna normally towards the top with both power and speed, but are Acuna. Um, so I guess like looking at some of your information, what were some of your like favorite spots heading into this week?
So we essentially have 10 teams that have 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really like you can take your shot at a lot of things. Something else that I've got on here, and I'm happy to share this with the group afterwards as well, is there's a closer depth chart. So
Cool.
one of the keys when I'm looking to figure out who I want to close is I'll come look here essentially. And what this tells you is essentially it's really helpful because it kind of tells you the rank. I'll go up to the top here for a second. I think
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore. So essentially, we've got Baltimore here. Felix Batista is a closer. You've got some setup guys here, and then you've got everybody else down below. What's really cool is this does shuffle, and Fangraphs does keep this up to date. Managers, kind of David Roberts, looking at you throw curveballs at us all the time, and sometimes the closer doesn't always get the save because they go matchup based, which kind of makes sense, but it also makes things frustrating or whatnot. But really, the key with this essentially is you can see that Felix Batista pitched today. He got the save and he threw 20 pitches. So essentially, the chance for him pitching tomorrow is a lot less. Or no, he pitched on Saturday rather. We haven't had Sunday yet.
Mm-hmm.
Let me update this real quick and see. No, so I haven't updated it for today yet. So that's another advantage of building tomorrow versus today kind of thing.
Right.
Pinch today. So in theory, but he's coming back from surgery or whatnot. One thing that I've learned from Eno Saris and DVR essentially is pitchers are typically worse on the second day that they pitch. They don't have quite as much, or they're more likely to get injured as well, kind of thing. And then if it's the same team, those same hitters have seen them kind of again, and then even more so for the third day in a row. So these pitchers essentially that have pitched this like final day or this Sunday going in, it's kind of like lean away from kind of thing. Class A's like in a really bad spot right now. We saw it with Edwin Diaz a little bit last year where you have this like immaculate closer that kind of falls down a little bit. In theory, he should get it back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What I was looking at the Royals was somebody who had a closer that they've got 4 games and he hasn't pitched in a little while. He does the Dragon Ball Z a zoo kick kind of thing, which is fun.
Yeah.
And then Lucas Ereg is another good, like people love him. He's solid as well. And then down Walker with the Giants as well. He's their closer. Just when I was doing my quick scan, he hasn't pitched for a little bit. And sometimes they'll throw him out there in non-save situations just to kind of keep him warm. So that's where if he doesn't pitch tonight or today, with 4 games in theory. The other thing is that you got to keep in mind if there's a night game going into a day game,
Right.
closer again, starting that next game is like basically nothing kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that was something that I hadn't really put too much thought into, and I think it was you that brought it up in the Discord. Is like the relief pitcher thing of like, even if a guy like I was a little bit hesitant to throw somebody like Mason Miller out in a series where I thought the A's were going to lose most of the games, and where I'm like, okay, if I'm focused on relievers, I'm going to focus on guys in like more save situations, right? But if somebody like Mason Miller, who is as talented as he is, even if he hasn't thrown in a couple of days, he's still probably going to get out there and rack up a few Ks. So it's not like a complete like waste to not throw him out there. But I the first couple of game weeks, I was so focused on only finding relievers that were going to be in like, I don't know, a higher probability of a save situation.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot because they have to be within 3
right.
as well, or there's got to be a fluke situation where a bunch of people get on base and then they're like the tie and run or winning run is at the plate kind of thing as well.
Right.
You have it where it's a little bit beyond 4 and some or beyond 3 in some weird situations. But yeah, relievers, it's very difficult to predict. It is a bit of a crapshoot. And this is where sometimes it's just like, man, having a floor of a starter with that RP slot really makes it a lot easier because, hey, even if I get just 15 or 17 points, I got something out of them. If you get 2 quality saves out of a really good, like Class A last year, you could top 40, 45 points out of that position, which really just helps elevate you up to that next level.
Right. That's what I thought I was going to get from Chapman this weekend against the White Sox, and then the Red Sox decided to just not score any runs the entire game.
Yeah, it's been pretty brutal. Yeah, and that loss essentially that I got credited with too.
Yeah, it's just terrible stuff. Yeah, Borland, I saw that today. That does suck. Steele being done.
Got on the IL too, and that's something too with the pitchers. They go down a little bit more than the bats typically do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you kind of are risking a little bit by going after some of those really high quality, high priced names. But then, in theory, there's a little bit more certainty with that. One of the things too, it's like who to attack. We talked about this the other day, and I didn't necessarily have this totally written down, but it's kind of easy to do where you essentially can go to ESPN and then look to see who scored the most runs and stuff like that and attack that as well. Standings, I think, stats. And you can just see who scored raw runs. Essentially, there's sabermetricians that are like, oh, well, you could actually, figure out who should have scored more runs more in a way.
Right.
Like, ex-Woba and stuff like that as well. But it's like, it's kind of nice to know, hey, the Cubs score the most runs. So if I've got a pitcher that's going against them, maybe Wrigley when the wind's blowing in and it's cold outside. The wind affects Wrigley more than any other park.
Yeah.
They are saying that Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, there's just a new thing with Saris and DVR where that has very strong wind gusts associated with it as well too. And then conversely, hey, who doesn't score? Sorry, Taylor. Out to such a great start. Braves, you think, turn it around. Houston, we saw this last year where they started really cold and then started to vault up.
Yeah.
The Royals being down there, with Witt, he's great by himself, but doesn't have a ton of supporting cast. Vinny's good and stuff like that. But that's where it's just kind of nice. You could play around with some of these numbers too, of saying, hey, who hits the ball, who goes long with it as well. I think Woba and ex-Woba is a little bit better of a measure, but that's, again, can kind of give you some directionality. One thing I did do this just for this season too, or just sign it up for, was Sorare Edge. So it's got spreadsheets essentially as well with projections. And it kind of just, again, helps kind of lose some of the clutter and try and do that's directionally correct. So do projections always work? No. Do they work most of the time? In theory, yes, kind of thing. And then you can kind of do your I know better. Can see with his as well, we've got these game week at bats as well. And then the game week projections for our hitters on the side here as well. What's nice with Sorare Edge is he actually does it where he does an API that you can do as well, which I should have opened up beforehand, but I think I can do it now. Here we go. And so it's essentially where it's all your cards essentially that you've got.
Oh,
and
cool.
So me having to sort through everything here to say, okay, where's everything? It's pretty nice, which you can do the Control F, guys, if you didn't know, and then you can just bring up find in sheets and say,
Okay, where is maybe Adley? Let's see, Adley. Oh, if I could type, here we go. And then he should come up here and get highlighted. So Taj Bradley. Okay, here we go.
There you go.
Bradley and Blaylock. So he may not be in this right now for looking ahead. So, but yeah, the Control F is a big thing that I really like. The other real quick tip with YouTube, there's a little gearbox down essentially in one of the side corners. You can click on that and go to playback speed and click it up a lot of times to 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can listen to stuff essentially like 50% faster. Most people take their time when speaking and don't speak quite as rapidly as I do.
Especially for the replays, that's super helpful. I think the projections are helpful. I think the way that you framed it is like eliminating the clutter. That's what I use it for. Like I'm just trying to eliminate some decisions off the top, because especially with baseball, more so than the NBA, actually similar to MLB at the end of the season, where it's like, man, there's just so many options. There's so much like fluid information that I'm just trying to narrow some shit down. Like I would like to eliminate, like, Kansas City is at Miami this weekend. Like I'm going to just eliminate Royals not named Bobby Witt, most likely. Like I just want to be able, and the projections can help do that. I think for me, what's been fun, like my dumb person process is like, okay, let me identify who are the worst, who are like the worst rotations, like what worst rotations are coming up this game week, and then where are people playing, and then like those are the first two decisions that I make right away. And it's like, okay, we're getting no Paul for the Pirates this game week, so we're avoiding the Pirates ace, and after him it drops off a little bit, and they're playing in Cincinnati. Okay, let's go, let's attack that spot. That's kind of like how I've been doing it for again my dumb Zakarian math off the top. But I think like once you're able to identify rotations, it really does make things a little bit easy. And it's not perfect because anybody can get hot at any. We saw our guy Dick Fitz; he was like lights out till he got hurt this weekend. But I think when you're able to do that, it makes it a little bit easier. Being like, okay, we can attack this team, every other game week almost.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where this hitting matchup too, with just these rankings essentially are dynamic as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things that I have in my thing here essentially is these specific pitcher batter matchups. So shout out DJ Local, the GOAT as well. So you can open this up. Let's see if that's weather. So this essentially will tell me, hey, here's everybody that's played tomorrow against the starting pitchers that are projected essentially. And so Jose Altuve essentially has got a 3.33 average or 3.33 average against Sonny Gray. No home runs essentially, but a lot of singles and a double essentially. So this is kind of nice for the daily. Hey, Casas when he was good at pods.
Mm-hmm. Jesus.
Sometimes it's like when people are in slumps like that, that's where you got to use the eye test and the I know better as well with it. But that's where, hey, if you're home runs searching too, you got to look at the number of at bats too. But hey, man, 5 plate appearances, 2 hits,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 home runs isn't the worst thing. Were there some other conditions around that? Again, not all home runs are created equal. The ball travels a lot farther when it's hot outside. So
right.
We have that kind of going against us right now. But I think with the hits too, it's one of those things where, and we see it in Miami a lot too, the shadows are pretty wild on some of these parks.
Right.
Certain time of the day, it really messes with the batters, and it really just goes to the pitchers' favors considerably.
Yeah. You brought Daly up. I was going to ask, because we did not have Daly in Sorare MLB last season, correct?
Correct.
So how has that adjusted your like strategy at all? Is it mostly like, all right, I'm focusing on my biweekly, and then with whatever I have left, then I'll start to filter in daily? Or is there ever a situation where you're prioritizing some daily cards or daily lineups, excuse me?
The prizes for daily aren't quite what they are for biweekly still, unless you get to like the very tippy top kind of thing. And even then it seems like it's a little bit, the prizes are a little bit less, like you're not winning a Shohei typically, or I haven't seen a lot of Shoheis come out of the dailies kind of thing.
Right.
So But I think it's really interesting. It is a very new dynamic. I love it because one, it gives you a reason to like tune in and focus, and like even with these projections, essentially from Sorare Edge. So essentially with this guy, before I forget too much, you can sign up. So it's $5 a month if you just want these overall projections, essentially. And then if there's like specific ones that you want for you, and I can kind of go into this a little bit more too later if it works out. But essentially, it filters your cards. Essentially, you can say, okay, this is who I've got for this game week, who's in theory is going to be projected. So he's on patreon.com/So Rare Edge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just So Rare and then Edge. Very helpful. It's a Discord as well. I signed up for it. So the $5 one is the overall. And then if you pay $10 a month, it's for you get this own API. It also does an optimizer for you too.
I was just going to ask if there was an optimizer.
Yes, to say, let's see, I want to hide this thing real quick.
Yeah.
Optimize team. And essentially you can also say, hey, how many in seasons you want to have as well. So there's a little bit of work that you have to do with this essentially. So I've got a gallery update this essentially. So it'll run, I've got a lot of cards. So it'll take probably, I don't know, like 60 seconds or something like that. After that, I've got to copy over, and then I update to this game week. And then I can optimize. Sometimes it's still on last game week and not this game week. And that's where the ad really helps out a lot. As well. But it's nice because you can select, hey, do I want to energize 2 cards or 3 cards, or how to go with that. But yeah, still been prioritizing bi-weeklies for the most part. I think that's where I use my heavy hitters, guys that I know, hey, these guys should smash in theory 3 or 4 times, put up some big numbers. My guys that I'm not quite sure about, hey, maybe they have 2 really solid games, but the third game's against a Crochet, a School,
right,
and somebody like that. That way I like to keep them a little bit more for a daily.
I know we mentioned this before too. I'm a little bit more interested in like full game stacking in the daily versus the champion, or like the bi-weekly. And not that you can't do it in bi-weekly, but in daily, when it's like, all right, man, we have like 6 games on tonight's slate. Like, what if the Padres put up 9, and everybody else is like a 3-1 game? Let me just roll with the dads in that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can do that,
okay.
but then you're hoping to get those correct Pirates or those correct Padres essentially. And sometimes
Sure.
it's the catcher that goes off that you're like, seriously, like
Right.
Gashioki for the Padres was just going nuts last year. Occasionally, it's like, okay, the projections don't have him here, but again, he's just smashing so much. You're like, okay, is this the one game week he's going to stop and regress back to mean, or is he just going to stay continually, performing at this incredible level kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm with you on the daily word too, though. Like those are still my leftovers. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and like I'm it has been a reason to kind of expand my gallery a little bit, because I like having and I've had some success in the daily stuff, so I am enjoying that part. But speaking of like an expanding gallery, and like what I know you have been playing for a while, so you have a pretty large gallery. What is your strategy like in season now? Were you like, I'm gonna scoop a bunch of stuff early of the in season and then we'll like reassess later, or do you kind of like constantly slowly acquiring?
It's kind of, so triple play kind of made me min bin on a lot of stuff, more or less. Didn't make me, but I kind of chose to because I saw an opportunity to roll the dice to get essence, or roll the dice to get a card, and then get essence, and then roll the dice to get another card pretty early on. And the amount of essence we were getting early on for that stuff, though it was still kind of broken, seemed just absurd. So I kind of dove in a little bit, and yeah, just got a lot of guys that nobody kind of seemed to want for a while, and even got some doubles of those as well. My largest purchase was a Trout for $36. I did have a lot of boxes that I saved over from last season, but I was kind of an idiot and opened them and tried to build my last season collection when I was worried that they were essentially, so we're kind of made all the boxes open from soccer earlier, and then NBA auto open. And I was worried something was going to happen NBA. And then it's like, now you just have this flood of credits on the market that have an expiry date. So best to get ahead of that as opposed to before the prices. But yeah, just prices kept falling in the off season as well. So it was kind of hard to stop as well. Sometimes it's like, hey, Adley's $50 where he was $150 before, kind of thing. But he has lost that utility from being an in-season card. So
right.
So gone after some guys, yeah, the market really has taken a nosedive. It was unfortunate with the 10% to 5% with the triple play as well. One thing to keep in mind is like a lot of these cards are going to be gaining additional, I guess, utility through like, hey, now you're third baseman, shortstop, like position eligibility as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like that'll be especially advantageous for catchers when they get DH and stuff like that. So some of these early cards won't be quite as like utility, but I mean the utility is really being able to play them right now, kind of thing as well.
Yeah, I know it is. It's funny because you get swept up in it almost every single season, whether MLB or NBA. And so like you're like, okay, I know this is how it goes. I know it's going to be cheaper later, and then you still talk yourself into being like, well, but if I get him now, I'm one of the few people that has it now, so that
Yeah.
gives me an advantage. So it's the same story.
Yeah. And it's kind of like the Jeb with Flipkowski, Colin Holderman was one of my guys that like, hey, with the Pirates, David Bednar did go to the IL, wasn't looking good, but now it's Dennis Santana, who only has like a season 1 card from the Texas Rangers. So it's kind of wild. So,
yeah.
And going back to directionally correct too, Hunter himself with Sideline Sports, he does a newsletter that's free to sign up for through Substack essentially. So he does some shout outs from people that have won essentially. And then he goes through roster movements, which is pretty helpful, text based as well. So it's like, hey, nice, right before he'll mail this out, day of lock. So on Mondays and Friday mornings, essentially, he'll kind of give some shout outs to the starting pitchers that he likes as well, which is pretty nice.
Yeah. I'm a subscriber to that. Big fan of Hunter. So
Yeah.
go check that stuff out. And again, similarly to projections, it's just nice when somebody else helps you narrow down some of your decisions. And not that it's like you're going to get everything right. You're of course going to get some stuff wrong, just like projections. Sometimes you're going to get stuff wrong. But again, just like somebody helping you trim down the decision-making process. Also, Borland, great point here, says only 9 more relief pitching appearances for Willie Castro, and then he gets added.
I was hoping Rowdy Tellez would get that. So one other interesting thing to show real quick is this lineup tracker from Fangraphs. So what's really cool about this is you can go to any team. So let's go to the Twinkies essentially and see what we've been doing lately. See poor Royce Lewis on this IL basically for the last. And again, you read it from the right to the left. So this is the 13th Sunday over here. This was their starting lineup. You can see the order essentially. Carlos Correa basically just got a day off, it looks like. So I'd feel more confident now if we were going into like a 4-game slate for Minnesota that Carlos would probably play that, unless there was something like, hey, he was feeling like sore this or sore that or nursing an injury kind of thing. It's cool too because with these as well, you can see when it's a left-handed or right-handed pitcher. So you can see specifically who sits and who starts sometimes with these platoon guys. I kind of like Arizona for that with Pavin Smith.
Oh yeah, he's been great.
Yeah, and they basically sit against lefty but starter against righty. So again, hey, most pitches are right-handed pitchers. So I picked him up for like I think it was like $6 or $7. His rare as well, and then hey, with the market credits that are 50%, kind of seemed like a no-brainer. There's other guys like that too, Jacques Peterson. Another kind of older platoon players that now because of Daly just have so much more advantage and leverage too. And with energy only being 10 as well, it is interesting to attack Daly every once in a while. Energy management is like kind of something that's really new this season. And I've been kind of stashing a little bit more, thinking that folks are going to kind of spend early, maybe see the Andrew Laird and say, I'm going to Laird this baby. And, it's like you just basically crash out in one. Hopefully not. I wish the best for people. But what I've seen essentially is typically my second, third, fourth priority lineup outperforms my top priority lineup. And I think that's kind of common. So it's like, hey, don't get frustrated with that. It's a game, so have fun with it. And it's, just very dynamic too. So if you have an influencer or somebody go on and say, hey, you should always do this or always do that.
Yeah.
Market then rushes in and does that. Then it's like you got to be the Zag and Zakarian kind of thing,
That's right. Zag and Zakarian. I like that.
Well
done. No, I like that call too. And I mean, I think it's all like I was thinking about it this past game weekend where I was looking at I might have done it actually. I was looking at all of the pitching matchups for the weekend, and I had like a decent pitcher roster. And DeGrom probably, I don't think it worked out, but DeGrom probably should have been in my top 3 for like guys that I would throw out.
Yep.
But I saw who else was pitching that night. And I was like, honestly, there's only like a 2-point difference in projection between him and say like Mike King. So I'm going to throw DeGrom out on the daily because I think I'll have an advantage there versus on the weekend where it's like, I don't know, maybe, but it's like DeGrom versus 40 other pitchers versus DeGrom versus 5 pitchers. And it's like, okay, maybe this is a spot you can like shift that down to daily.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely you can attack a lot of that individually, and then even more so when we have one of these kind of weird over 30 under a specific age too. It just really widows down the pool even more so beyond that too. One of the other sites that I really like a lot is this Baseball Savant. So you can kind of see down in the corner bats, throws, left.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of see some quick things, and then you can see down here too their WOBA, ex-WOBA as well, how they're doing. So if you want to see strikeout numbers too, this is just kind of like a good Baseball Savant's kind of pretty nice, just quick and easy. Hey, is somebody left-handed, right-handed? What's their age as well? You can kind of see as well quick. If I'm looking for a person, I'm not sure if they're lefty or righty or switch. I'll just come here real quick and kind of check in.
Yeah, that is super helpful. The age thing was funny today because I think everybody was like, I got no idea. I got just like Googling who's over 30 baseball players.
Yeah, I was lucky when I had the season 2 or season 3 card. And yeah, it's on the very bottom corner. And that's where it's like, come on, so we're like put more useful data on the card, I guess, in a way, like the position on these new ones. It's like tiny white letters. Why don't you give me that a little bit bigger? Or even like what we were just saying, tell me which way they hit, essentially. Where do they usually hit from? Or which way they're a pitcher. That's just terribly helpful utility information. I think that's going to help more common folks versus like baseball nuts get going as well. So
no, that is helpful though. I agree with you. I mean, if we're putting the flag there in the bottom, I was actually just thinking, do these, I haven't like stared at one of these cards here in a while as I'm like pulling one up on my screen. Do these like flip around too? Yeah.
oh yeah, they're 3D. Yeah, they're 3D.
There's no reason we can't have that on the back.
So
Treat it like a baseball card.
This stuff where it's essentially these you'll see how much you won essentially with it in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I think too. So I don't know with my Carroll if I have it. Yeah, I just got a couple Ryan Mountcastles. I was watching the game and I was like, oh my God, he just hit a home run over the new wall. Oh man, I gotta go get that. Instant buy was only like, I don't know, $5. So after the 50%, like $2, whatever. So
there you go.
So yeah, I won. So I got back-to-back 19th and 20th place, and so I got double Carrolls. So, but he was a T1, where I feel like with your daily, you got a star, right?
Yeah, I think he was the very last star. Like I think he was right at the bottom of the star tier 1 level. But it's so funny. I was so early at I was still so new to like collecting that I mean, yes, of course I would have liked to know Ohtani, but I was like, all right, hell yeah, I'll take Corbin Carroll.
Oh, dude, and again, power plus speed is Corbin Carroll. He had it down year last year. Something else while I'm on the card page, so you can see up here on the right, it says 137. And so that's where you can actually apply XP more. I kind of like doing it more here than versus when you just kind of go hog wild here.
Yeah.
This is a good example. So I've got one that's 152 or the one that's 137. So it's like, hey, why not bump up the 137? What I think will happen is at the end of the game week, when everything tallies and we get rewards, this XP will be calculated. If I then level it up, then it'll be less than this 137. So I'm kind of saving my XP reserve a little bit in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of like, wait for the current XP to come in, then level it up. And then when you enter in the new week, you're kind of starting from 0, but you're at that new threshold. I think with XP2, just talking real quick, I think the bigger bats, again, you want a bigger boost on the most points you can get because that's the best use of the boost. But some of these, when it's only 200 XP and it's like, hey, you go up a percentage point. If you're playing a card, it could be a winning lineup. I mean, maybe having that type of investment in it, it's really not too much kind of thing. So in some of my champion lineups, it's like, hey, if it doesn't have a percentage in it, go drop a percentage in it quick and then re-enter it.
And then re-enter. Yeah. Yeah. That was honestly something I had no idea. And then you guys told me about it like stream. And I did exactly what you said you try not to do, where I was like, well, we're going hog wild here. And I mean, I was like scrolling to see like what was close to being leveled up and what I was planning on playing, and then just like smashed all of those. So clearly all of my Red Sox stacks that I run out every single week are now nice and boosted for their 4 and 5 point scores.
Hey, but they're always boosted kind of thing too. So it's one of those where they're always like that. I made a cardinal mistake in this one the other week where I would have had a really nice thing here, but I accidentally sealed this William Contreras.
Oh no.
Online. Yeah. So the other thing that I like doing is so rare data essentially still allows you to have lists of players or whatever. So keeping track of, hey, players I liked, William Contreras was like he was like the top King William. He was like the top catcher basically in drafts this season. So having some of his classic cards go down to $1 was like, hey, this is a little crazy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Hey, pick those up. Hey, why don't I seal them now? I might as well just seal them. And then it's like, it gave me an alert that one of them was locked. I backed out of it. I did it again. It didn't give me the alert, but unfortunately it's like, no, you're still gonna be doing this. So yeah, I think with the challengers, the best thing is like the energy that you get out of it in a way. The XP is kind of nice. I wish the XP would get boosted with your reward boost. I guess I'm saying that kind of a little selfishly, but
no, that makes sense though. It's so funny. I always keep thinking I'm making a mistake by not entering, or challengers are only classic cards, right?
yep, challengers are all classics.
Yeah. I keep thinking, I'm like, oh man, I need to be entering these lineups. And I was like, I don't have I only have in-season cards. So that's why I'm not doing it.
If you have, even if it's a throwaway, I still would throw in these challenger cards because I think the minimum you get is still at least 25 energy.
Okay.
So it's like you'll get 25 limited energy for at least filling it out. Yeah, to 100%. So you get 50 XP too. So it kind of doesn't matter if they're dead cards. That 25 energy then can earn you a shot basically to earn one of these classic cards in theory. The classic cards have taken a nosedive in some prices. Like there were some, I think, Jose Ramirez was in the $20 range. Devers was in the teens essentially. So,
and it's funny because if you have stored up some of that energy, right? Like, and I mean, you're like, listen, man, this is a big game week and I'm missing one piece. And you're like, I get to use this as long as I have energy in your in-season stuff. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I especially think it's smart to target that with, like, again, the only example I have off the top of my head is Clay Holmes, but like he's got relief pitcher eligibility in his classic cards, but not in his in-season. So like targeting those guys and using energy on that, I think is like super sharp.
Yeah. And the Shohei Ohtani too. And it's like, hey, if you can boost him up to a max level as well, and then continue to play him as well. So yeah, I had it early on where I was trying to use energy on these rare lineups and it gets me nothing. And it just became very frustrating where it's like, oh, I could have saved this. And again, I think competition might peter out a little bit possibly as things go along as well. So
wait, do you think, I can't believe I haven't asked this or even looked into it. And maybe it's because I don't have the budget to have an Ohtani. If he's pitching, do you get his hitting points as well? Or
so essentially you have to either assign him in a pitching slot or in a hitting slot. You can't put him in the flex. It'll give you an error.
Okay.
And so then you're kind of declaring yourself, hey, he's going to do this for me.
Okay.
Like, and again, we know with hitting, okay, you get, 3 or 4 games essentially to try and hit, or with pitching, you just get one. That's where, in theory, the daily game might be best use for him, but he's such an expensive card too that in theory should perform. I mean, he was a 50-50 guy, so he didn't steal out the gate initially, but then he started to as time went on, and that really got him cooking essentially with hitting home runs, driving people in that Dodgers lineup, and then stealing on top of it. He was just such a beast.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I was like, because especially when Borland had said that Willie Castro thing earlier, I was like, wait, does he get the hitting points as well?
Yeah. Rowdy Tellez, pitched a relief pitch like as a positional player too. But you've got to do it quite a few times, and then it doesn't very often for positional players. But yeah, this Junior Caminero was $20. It's rare, so it's like man, the most recent sales for that were in like the $70 or $80 range or beyond that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's only a matter of time till he heats up kind of thing. So I saw that and I was like, yeah, thank you very much. So
Yeah.
deals like that are out there in the market if you want to pick your person. And yeah, he's only 20 years old. So yeah, it's a classic card now, and yeah, hopefully the CBA at the end of 2026 we don't get locked out and this goes to, the end. But
I know. Don't even joke.
but we'll just see how things go kind of thing. So
Yeah. Well, Jump Shoot, man, this is awesome. Is there anything else like we didn't hit that you think we should before we wrap up here? I don't want to take up.
weather thing, essentially, it's kind of self-explanatory. So if you want to go through here, that's another advantage. So Hunter has a premium subscription mode, and he'll give you weather forecasts as well, which is really nice, and projections for that. And then there's daily podcast down here at the bottom that I just like turning on when I'm rolling into work.
Yeah, I actually have still am like grandfathered into this Roto Grinder sub, and
Nice.
Kevin Roth is like their weather guy, and he'll do like the weather every day that's free, but he created this thing called Weather Edge that basically takes all, and I'll share it occasionally in the Discord when I can, but it takes all of like the sample size of like the weather in that stadium and kind of gives you an idea of like, well, it's really humid in Washington and Baltimore today. So like in under 75 games, you're seeing a 35% increase in home runs, like 25% increase in runs scored, and then like a -14 in ERA or whatever. And again, it's such specific data right at that point. But for what I find it helpful is always like the tiebreakers. If I'm like stuck between the Blue Jays who are at home or so-and-so in like Cincinnati or whatever, and being like, wow, Cincinnati's hitting environment is already good, and the weather is also saying it's like a smash spot. So again, it's good tie-breaking information.
Yeah, absolutely agree 100%. It is nice to have that little bit of empirical data that can push you over the edge too. But the one thing is then your projections kind of take into account. So now you're kind of doubling up.
Double dipping. No, totally. That's a
But
really good point.
at the same time, it's like if you don't do that, then you're kicking yourself for not doing it. So I found, hey, you got to go with your gut, go with what plays. And again, what's great with daily is, hey, if I crapped out of it, whatever, it goes in the dumpster and I get to do it again tomorrow.
Right.
That's what's great about MLB. It's 162 games, man. Like we have so many games.
I know. Hey, it's been fun. I know I've said this a bunch of times on stream, but I really have been enjoying the sweat of it. I didn't have like a super great game week this week. I think it's like a bunch of top 20%. So it's like we'll take the essence, but it's still been such a fun sweat. And it's just terrible that my team that I love is terrible at putting up runs. So that's been the biggest problem. It's like, well, the Red Sox are in a great spot. 3 gas cans against the White Sox did. They suck.
And it does sour you on it. It's a lot more fun when your team's doing well, but it's like it's better to do better in September and October than it is in April. And April's like the least sticky month too. So your performance here matters the least further on. So even about some of these guys that are down, hey, if they're low enough down, it's a buck or two. Take a sling on them. Yeah. They catch lightning in a bottle for 3 or 4 game weeks. Like, yeah, guys cycle. So don't buy guys that are hot by the end of their hitting streak. Try and buy them when they're cold. Hey, we've got how many more months left of baseball? Things are going to turn around in the heat.
Jump Shoot saying buy the Red Sox dip. That's what I'm hearing. Dude, thank you so much for doing this, man. You've been a great resource to so many people, whether in the chat or in the Discord, and have been a champion of the baseball product as I rejected it for the first 2 seasons. So it's been fun to dive in, and I appreciate you sharing some expertise, and I appreciate everybody who watched and battled through not only my technical difficulties, but your technical difficulties as well. We did it. We brought the difficulties together.
That's right. We'll smoke some, Matic Auto.
That's right. We'll definitely have to get you back on and do this again, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, thanks so much. It's been therapeutic, from Top Shot all the way to here, just being able to kind of troll it out sometimes in the chat.
Yeah,
so
man.
Really appreciate what you do for the community. And yeah, thanks for coming to MLB because it is a lot of fun. There's a lot of these differences. You don't need to have Judge and Ohtani and Bobby Witt to win every week.
Yeah.
Seeing some of these Moneyball guys is a lot of fun.
No, and I'm telling the daily thing also like opened my brain up to it a lot more. Like like I like the everyday figure, like looking at weather and lineups and rotations and being like, okay, these are going to be my squads today. That has actually made it more interesting for me.
I think 3 SPs essentially is definitely the meta. If you can get 3 SPs, typically, like if you have an RP that goes off, but the chances of that are a lot less than having, starting pitcher in the flex, and then a starting pitcher, well, in the relief pitcher spot too. Yeah.
Yeah, those are really the only additions I've been making to the galleries, mostly pitching. Like I kind of have got my hitters and I'd like to get more, but it's like those, those are just like such minute differences where the pitching, I think that's like where you need the flexibility. So that's where I've been targeting. But you're right. Yeah, if you can get 3 SPs in a daily, ship it.
Yep.
All right, dudes, we'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow with the NBA bit over on the NBA bit channel. And then we'll have something here. It's either going to be tomorrow afternoon or Tuesday afternoon on the basketball side of things. Then more baseball content come Thursday. Also, we got a fun like Celtics video thing dropping tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But Jump Shooty, anything you got to plug?
Just have fun, stay in school, kids. I don't know, like have time, I guess. Like, I guess don't get discouraged if you don't win too. It's like you have to keep taking swings at the pitches. And so I think my first number one came around All-Star break through rare. It was like, around in rare All-Star. And so the first year, so it just takes a long time. It is, you're just kind of rolling out different lineups and trying to have fun. Enjoy the game as much as you can, and enjoy it and try not to get discouraged.
Absolutely. Yeah. And good luck, Borland. I know Borland in the chat said you had a couple of sweats, so good luck.
Nice. Good luck. Yeah, good luck. And go Twins.
Go Twinkies. All right. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We're out of here. We'll see you tomorrow morning.